Hello, Kevin from Jones Tree and Lawn, here today to create a video to show our clients how to properly water their trees. There's varying methods. First, we'll kind of go through the spot sprinkler, then we'll step up to the watering wand, then we'll go on to the deep root feeder, and lastly, we'll end with the soaker hose. There's advantages and disadvantages to any of these methods. I'll try to explain that as we're going through, but I hope this gives our clients a nice guide before we're heading into winter. Just grabbed a sample of dry soil, and I just kind of wanted to indicate what it looks like, kind of how it feels like, but there's absolutely, it turns to dust. There's absolutely no water in this soil. So if your soil feels like this and it's near your tree, you need to water your tree. So you may be wondering how much water to give a tree. A lot of this is determined by diameter at breast height. So I've got a diameter tape here, and basically I'm going to take a measurement around the trunk, and that will tell me basically the diameter of the tree. There's some other ways to measure the trunk of the tree. You can buy a seamstress tape, wrap it around the tree, and then there's lots of apps if you don't want to do all the math, but there's some apps that will convert circumference to diameter. They're real easy to use. This is a 12-inch diameter tree, and the general rule is 10 gallons per inch of water at chest height. So that equates for a nice deep soak. It equates to 120 gallons worth of water. So right now I have 1 gallon in this 5-gallon bucket, and I'm going to take a permanent marker and mark off the level. This will help us calibrate the equipment. Okay, so I've got my 5-gallon bucket. I've marked out where 1 gallon is with a permanent marker. It's down here. It's probably hard to see in the camera. But what I'm going to do is turn this on full pressure, hit a timer on my phone, and then see how long it takes to fill up 1 gallon. So that actually took only 16 seconds to put out 1 gallon of water. So what I'm going to do is kind of preset this spot sprinkler under the canopy of the tree, because I want to water the critical zone of the roots that's within the canopy of the tree, and then slightly beyond the drip line. The drip line, if you draw an imaginary line, is basically the edge of the canopy, and we want to water slightly beyond that if at all possible. So after doing a little math, I've determined that if I have that spot sprinkler going, if I run it for 32 minutes, we will deliver 120 gallons worth of water to this tree. Again, we're going to try to water each kind of the root zone of the tree in quarters. So if I divide 32 minutes by 4, basically if I do 8 minutes each quarter, then we've accomplished what this tree needs. So what I like about the spot sprayer, it's only $4 at Home Depot. It does the trick. It's not labor intensive. You can set it, and as we determined, basically every quarter is 8 minutes. The downside, I would say, is on a windy day, you might have some of that water displaced, and just even watering, you might have some that goes off target. But all in all, it does a pretty good job. Next watering method is the watering wand, and now we need to determine how long it takes for 1 gallon to come out at the end of the head here. So let's go ahead and do that. It takes 20 seconds to have 1 gallon of water come out of the end of the watering wand. So this tree needs 120 gallons of water based on the 10 gallons per inch diameter rule. So if we take simple math here, 20 seconds times 120, representing 120 gallons, that gives us 2,400 seconds, but I'm going to go ahead and divide that by 60. And that gives us 40 minutes. So if I break this tree into quarters, that would essentially mean 10 minutes per quarter, and then we've delivered that 120 gallons. All right, the watering wand, it works. However, it's labor intensive. I got to stand out here for 40 minutes to water this tree. So right now I'm kind of leaning towards the spot sprinkler. this does work, but you got to stay dedicated and do it for that amount of time to deliver that amount of water. So this might be more suitable for smaller trees, younger trees, 2-inch diameter range up to maybe 6-inch diameter. But for larger trees, probably not the best tool. Common things I see out in the field, sometimes clients tell me, oh, I water my tree all the time. I water it all the time. Well, I get out to their property and they'll have this just running in one spot. Again, I can't stress the importance of you have to distribute that water. This is only watering one area of the tree. So just remember, distribute the water. So same thing with just having the garden hose right up against the trunk of the tree. I sometimes see deep root feeders put in one place and then people just let it rip. Again, going back to, you have to distribute the water. That it takes 12 seconds to push out 1 gallon out of the deep root feeder. Now, how to deliver the water using this feeder. Again, this tree needs 120 gallons of water. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to put 1 gallon in each injection site. So that equates to 120 injection sites for this tree. For me, when I was out in the field doing production, a lot of times what I do, again, is break the tree up into quarters. So if I take this quarter of under the canopy of the tree and slightly beyond, that would be 30 injections. And then from there, I would go further and I'd say, okay, basically I need 6 rows of 5 to equal 30 in this quarter. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that for you guys. So I'm slightly beyond the drip line of the tree, and I'm going to do 6 rows in this quarter of 5 injections. So let me just demonstrate. And I'm going to count to 12 for each injection site. Let's take one step, which is about 2.5 feet, and then make another injection. Again, only about 6 to 8 inches into the ground. So when you're using a deeper feeder, you might have some water that comes back up to the surface. Don't freak out about it. Just remember, at the end of the day, gravity wins the battle. The root feeder helps also. The advantage with the root feeder is helps kind of break up the soil and frack the soil, creating more airspace for the roots to grow. So the pros behind this feeder, number one, the cost. I didn't find that offensive. It's 23 bucks. You have another option out there, Ross root feeder, but I kind of decided to go with the Corona. It's just heavier duty construction. It's also cheaper. And then, in terms of delivering the water, we're going 6 to 8 inches down. Basically, most feeder roots are in the top foot of soil, so you're really delivering that water directly to the roots. You're not spraying the water up in the air. There's no surface water, so you're not losing much water to, evaporation or anything like that. The cons, I would say, behind the feeder, it's labor intensive. Do you want to be out here for 30 minutes focusing on one tree? So we're here at Ponderosa Pine here, and I kind of just quickly set up a soaker hose around the base of the tree. This is by no means enough hose to do this full tree. We would want to extend the soaker hose all the kind of spiral out to the edge of the canopy. This is more for, in my opinion, more permanent installation. And I would also say, if you do install it, they're good in mulched areas. So basically you would pull back the mulch, install the hose, put the mulch back over the top. That way you don't have to look at the kind of the eyesore on the ground, and it will help deliver the water directly to the roots. The pins that we had, unfortunately, they're not correct. I would go more for this landscape staples that are square in shape, because if you drive these into the ground, it will end up pinching the hose. But you would follow that same process in terms of doing the 5-gallon bucket test. You would stick the soaker hose in the bucket, turn it on, and then see how long it takes to fill up 1 gallon of water. You could even do 5 gallons of water. I would probably need to buy another 2 to 3 hoses to adequately cover the root zone of this tree. Each one of these hoses is 20 bucks a pop. So if you have a lot of trees in your landscape, that the cost can start adding up. But it's a good kind of method to water your trees. You set it, you forget it, you have your timer, you're all calibrated, and you let it go, and then you're done. The other thing too is you don't have to worry about windy conditions. You know, we're not putting water up in the air where it can drift off target. It's right near the ground where it's delivering water to the roots. So I just got done watering the tree. I got this, the soil sample about 6 inches down. And as you can tell, the water's still in there. That clay is holding on to it. But you can tell the difference. So another quick test after you water your tree. Again, the whole idea is to saturate those feeder roots about the top 12 inches of soil so you can get a long screwdriver, and it's kind of like testing a cake. So I'm just going to stick it in the ground, and I'm not getting a lot of resistance. And I'm down about 9-10 inches right now, but overall, based on all the math that we've done, I would still call this tree adequately watered. Now I'm going to take this over to a dry site and show you the difference, but I'm going to stick it down, and I cannot get it down any more than that. So you kind of feel around. I realize that people don't have a soil probe. The last way you can check is get a small hand shovel, dig down, feel that soil 6 to 8 inches down, and you've accomplished your job.